Before we get this video underway, I ask you to forgive me. No, I am not talking about the critically acclaimed Maritimes TV show focusing on a priest who has insomnia, but I just want you to forgive me in general because the news that we're going to be going over today is, for lack of a better word, it's pretty old. And by old, I mean this stuff has been out for months. It's just that I haven't really had the time to talk about it, nor did I really realize that it was there up until a few minutes ago when I was doing research and I thought, oh, I missed this. And besides, this stuff hasn't been solidified, set in stone yet, so I figure it's still not inappropriate to talk about it in a video like this. So, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at two free-to-sign hockey players, two European guys, who the Red Wings are apparently really close to signing one, and in a bidding war with the San Jose Sharks for the other. Now the first guy we're talking about here is a man with the name of Alexander Kadeikin. And he's a name that you might be a little bit familiar with, because he's a guy who the Detroit Red Wings actually drafted all the way back in 2014. However, when they did draft this player, he was a double overager, and he had already been passed over in 2 NHL drafts and was taken by the Red Wings at the age of 20 in the 7th round, 201st overall. Now, just to be clear, Alexander Kadeikin is a weird name. If you search him up on Elite Prospects, it comes up like this, Kadeykin. However, if you go onto the KHL website, it's spelled with an I instead of a Y. Also, there's some politician, I believe, in Russia that has the name Kadeikin as well, but instead of it saying EI or EY, it's just an A, so that's Kadeikin, so don't get confused with that if you want to look this player up. But Alexander Kadeikin is a former Detroit Red Wings prospect who has just been playing in the KHL this entire time. He boasts a really interesting profile, 6'5", 218 pounds. He's a big guy out there. And back when he was 19 playing for the Atlanti Mitishi in the MHL, he was just under 2 points a game as a 19-year-old. As a result, he got moved up to their KHL team, playing 54 games and being half a point a game there. It was then that the Red Wings drafted this player, but unfortunately for him, upon getting drafted, he was traded over to SKA St. Petersburg, where his production kind of took a hit because SKA St. Petersburg is stacked and they have a lot of really good players, so the younger guys don't really get the fair share of the pie when it comes to playing time. However, give Kadeikin a few more years with SKA St. Petersburg, Lokomotiv Yaroslavl, as well as the Salavat Yulaev Ufa hockey team, and all of a sudden this past season, he's a guy who posted up just half a point a game, 30 points in 60 games played in the KHL this season, and rumor has it, coming out of this Russian website, which I'm not even going to attempt to understand, so let's go over to prohockeyrumours.com to see the full thing in English. Apparently, Kadeikin has informed his KHL squad that he intends to sign with the Red Wings. Now, I will say, this news that we're reading about here with Kadeikin came out on April 1st, so I'm like 2 weeks late on covering this, so I apologize for that again. But the little Pro Hockey Rumors article kind of goes over what we can expect with Kadeikin, given his style and aggressive style, as well as his seemingly average offensive abilities. Kadeikin seems likely to slot into a checking role for Detroit. He may also begin his North American career in the AHL and work his way up. However, there should be ample opportunity with the last place Red Wings for Kadeikin to win a spot. Now at face value, the point production doesn't really seem too amazing. Half a point a game in the KHL as a 26-year-old guy certainly isn't anything to be writing home about, but at the same time, a free asset is a free asset, and if a guy's a 6'5" center and he wants to play for your team, the worst thing he can do is not pan out. And for the Red Wings, who are last place in the league, who don't really project to being any better in the next few seasons, they don't really have anything to lose here, so I don't really see the point in straying away from signing a guy who could potentially become something. Although it's unlikely that he becomes anything super special, a player is a player. Now, On to the news that's actually pretty old. Let's go over to Elliot Friedman's 31 thoughts all the way back from March 11th of this year. Yeah, I'm a month old on this. Let's go over to thought 18 all the way in this article. I haven't seen this particular player, but I've heard Detroit and San Jose are among those eyeing 26-year-old center Fredrik Händemark from Malmo in the Swedish League. Now, if you're paying attention to Red Wings free agency rumors, you would note that there is another Swedish player that the Red Wings are apparently in a bidding war with the Vancouver Canucks to get in Mathias Bromé. He's a guy who we already covered in 2 videos, the first one talking about a big pool of teams that was interested in him, and the second video talking about how it was down to Vancouver and Detroit. He's a guy playing for Örebro, and he is not this player. Händemark is a different player playing for the Malmo Redhawks as their captain. He's a guy who is also 26 years of age. He's another big center, just like the first guy that we talked about in Kadeykin, 6'4", 209 pounds. Händemark had 38 points in 52 games played for the Malmo Redhawks this past season, and he led that team in points. Malmo this past season was a below-average hockey team, finishing 9th in the entire standings in the entire league. And the fact that they didn't really have any point producers who had a better point number than Händemark, nor did they really have anyone close, says to me that Händemark was one of the more influential, impactful, and one of the more dominating players on this team. Again, the same philosophy that we talked about with Kadeykin applies here with Händemark. Sure, the number may not be incredibly high when you're taking a look at the points per game and the production, etc. But the fact of the matter is, if this is a player who would be willing to come over to Detroit, then you take it. You're last place in the league. What are you going to do? Get worse? That's not going to happen. And it's the exact same argument that the San Jose Sharks fan base should also be taking a look at too. If you're a Sharks fan out there watching this video, there's not too much looking upwards for you right now. You lost your first round pick that's probably going to be a top 2, top 3, top 4 pick if you're lucky, and you have nothing to show for it. It's Erik Karlsson, who is not really doing all too well in your hockey team, and your team is getting older, you're at the bottom of the standings, there is nothing you can lose from going after a guy like Händemark right here, who apparently the Red Wings are also interested in as well. Again, is there NHL potential? Probably. Is there NHL guarantees? Absolutely not. Händemark, Kadeykin, even Mathias Bromé, these guys don't have NHL solidified potential, but the potential that they break out in the NHL in some capacity does exist too. It's just a matter of giving them the right circumstances to exhibit that and allow that to happen. So, if you're a Red Wings fan, comment down below which of these 3 guys you are the most excited for, if you're even excited for anybody, because all 3 of these guys do also have the potential of coming nothing as equally as they have the potential of becoming something. So, among these 3, Bromé, Kadeykin, and Händemark, which one do you fancy the most? Bromé is the one who had the most points in the SHL among the 2 SHLers. Kadeykin and Händemark are both 2 big guys. Kadeykin also is a former Red Wings draft pick, and their ages are all roughly the same. They're just getting past their mid-20s. So, with that in mind, if the Red Wings are able to sign all 3 of these guys and you added 3 legitimate potential bottom 6 forwards to your lineup, it makes other people expendable, it gives you more assets to deal with, it gives you a bigger pool of flexibility in how to run your hockey team. So, there you go. Personally, for me, if it were up to me and I were to make an opinion, an educated guess as to what's going to happen, I would probably say Händemark has a little bit more potential. That's not to discredit both Bromé and Kadeykin. I'm only saying that because Bromé is a guy who is a little bit smaller, even though he has more points. I think when you compare Händemark and Bromé, Händemark is a guy who, to me, has a little bit more potential to actually have a solidified role. Because he's a bigger guy, he can be played in that bottom 6 grinder kind of role, and I think that's something that is a little bit more attainable than the offensive ceiling that a Bromé has. And as for Kadeykin, he's a guy who has been overshadowed throughout the past few years in the KHL, so I'm not really going to be able to say with the most confidence that he is going to translate into becoming really good too, because he was mostly used as a depth guy. That's just my opinion, though. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I would love to be proved wrong in this sense, and I'd love for all three of these guys to come over to Detroit or Vancouver. Bromé, yeah, please choose Vancouver, and become really good. So comment down below everything you think about these three players. I hope you enjoyed this video, such as that Trost 99, and bye.